Hey guys, I want to talk about Coti today. How's that sound to you guys? Right. So, currency of the internet, I want to talk a little bit about just things that they're doing in general that's setting themselves up really well to be part of several different CBDCs and CBDC like programs and partnerships. And they're off to a great start. Like they really are. If you're not familiar with themselves, then my job today is to help give you a little bit better idea of what they're doing in the sector of trying to get into payment processing and everything like that, so where they can jump on board more with programs like the digital euro, which is unofficial, but they are officially helping to test it, which certainly says something. Right. And they're in already with the Israeli shekel. And there's a lot of other small things they're doing, their partnerships they're having, the alliances they're forming. And it's looking pretty good that this currently relatively small market cap coin is setting up to explode, yes, for this cycle, for all the degenerates, me included, who is waiting for alt season to burst through the gates. It's also great, it appears to be, in my opinion, a great long-term play. And I want to get in a little bit of that today. So right before I get into this, just thank you guys for being here. If you get something that you enjoy from this, it's entertaining, or you just get a little bit of piece of information, or you've been here several times, please do press the buttons down below, the like, subscribe. I appreciate it. But now let's just dive right into it, shall we? So Coti is really digging itself into a nice little niche of getting in, yes, with CBDCs, but its main thing it's emphasizing, because it can actually do a lot, but it's targeting privacy. And when we're looking at crypto, which is supposed to be decentralized, supposed to be unregulated, and we understand that we're bringing in government agencies, large banks, so it's going to be somewhat regulated and centralized. Privacy is still a big effing deal, right? Again, if I'm sending in standard banks, if I send you $1,000, everyone in both our banks can know about it. It's timestamped, where it went, where if there was any middlemen, we know all that stuff. Whereas versus something like with Coti, if we're fully digitizing really just funds in general, which it really appears we're going to, we need to keep that stuff quiet, right? Like privacy is, if I send it to you, only us actually know where it went, and it can't actually be looked up or seen. And I mean, that's a big deal. We don't want anyone else to know where our funds are going or where it's come from. So, and this is a massively required field, and they're diving in pretty well. I'll get in a little bit about some of the partnerships they're doing. And though they're not officially tied in with any bank yet, I do got to clarify that, because you hear and see a bunch of things. They're not officially tied in anywhere yet, but they are testing with a couple different ones. And we'll talk a little bit briefly about the Ethereum Alliance. So they're shaking all the right hands. I think we're going to see exponential moves in the near future for Coti. So a couple things that they've already done is that they've tied themselves into I'm going to butcher this, guys. I don't actually know if it's pronounced Dejad, but it was Cardano's little stable coin. And Coti helped with the smart contract, transparent stable coins, and the transfer of Dejad. Yes, it really hasn't done too much, right? Cardano's little project, no shame or anything to them on their stable coin, though that hasn't really gone. There was no issues with Coti's part of the job. And it's a framework, right? It's kind of like a resume. It's like, well, we did this well, and now we can apply to bigger jobs. So that's kind of what I view their partnership with Cardano was get them started, and that kind of eased them into getting tied in with the European Central Bank, which the digital euro is, as of right now, other than the US digital dollar, the euro is probably the largest CBC or financial project that you would want to get in on. And you can even argue that it's more so right now, because there's really not much talk right now about the digital US dollar. So euro is the way to go right now, specifically since Coti they're targeting that side of the world, right? All sounds good for them. The biggest thing that Cardano helped show that Coti can do is that they were able to launch and manage stablecoins. And that's all that we need. And it's splendid. Coti also designed something called the trust chain. The whole point was to help increase the speed and rate of transactions, make it as high throughput as possible, and keep it far more private. Again, building the backbones here. And one of the biggest things I think that they've done is they joined something called the Ethereum Alliance. When I've talked about Hedera hbar before, the biggest thing I push is that they're the most versatile crypto and they've got the largest companies behind them, and I hold to it. Though not as large, I want to show you because Coti's people that are supporting behind Coti, one, it's a lot of the same names actually, but it's quite impressive. Let me show you. So real quick, this is just right off of Coti's website, right? You can see they actually did a nice little job on this. I appreciate it, at least. It makes it really easy of a layout to be able to do your own research on. But they have their partnerships and everything broken down into categories. I think is great. So you can see the DeFi gaming, CBDC. That's an interesting one here, isn't it, guys? And I think people are, I don't know if people haven't seen this. My guess is people haven't seen this, but this is a big deal. Yes, is it a little bit of a teaser? Of course it is. And I don't know about for you, but it's working on me. We already know the Bank of Israel with the shekel. Digital euro, guys. I don't think this is much hope even in this case. I really think that's just its saving place. I think by October at the latest, we're going to see European Central Bank's name right here. We'll find out soon. Here's the one I want to share with real briefly, is the Ethereum Alliance. So what the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance is, or EEA, I'm going to butcher this no matter how we call it, guys, to be honest. But it's the oldest nonprofit that's involved essentially with crypto. And the whole point is to try to build up a bunch of developers for things on Ethereum. Makes sense. But the names that are on this alliance, I'm not sure if you're familiar with, because I wasn't familiar that all these names were on there as well. So we've got Microsoft that has, I guess you can say, nothing directly to do with stable coins and payment transfers, but that's a big ass company if you've never heard of it. All right. We also have Chase. We have Santander. We have JP Morgan. We have Chainlink. We have Consensus. Consensus is started, it's a whole new company started by Joe Lubin, the co-founder of Ethereum. He has his own layer 2 now called Linea. These are good people and good companies to have on your side, because that the backdoor deals, I guess you can say, or just the insider knowledge is huge. They're constantly in conversation, and there is no other from what I could find. So if you know something, please put in the comments down below. If I missed this, it could happen. But Coti's the only one in the alliance that has anything really to do with privacy of payment transactions, which means if any of these companies want to do something, Coti's going to be one of the first lines of, hey, let's talk to these guys about doing it. And that's where something like having not just all these banks involved into it, but also Microsoft in, because Microsoft is pretty close to and in ties with a lot of other crypto companies, some of which, like Hedera, that is looking at being ran or using with stable coins, right? It's who do you know and who do you know that knows who, and Coti's setting themselves up phenomenally for this. So ultimately, where do we think Coti's going to go? What could it realistically end up doing or helping out with CBDCs or similar projects could they be on? Right? And I've heard people say, oh, they're going to be the main one that runs everything in the world. I highly doubt that. And it's not because I don't think Coti could. It's because I don't foresee them monopolizing anything in crypto. I mean, that kind of takes away from the whole centralization concept, right? Imagine if Ethereum ran everything. It's not decentralized anymore. It's Ethereum's world, right? And you can fill that in, pick any other crypto that you want, XRP or Caspa or Hedera. There's going to be multiple. And also imagine just, let's say if one company is trying to run the US digital dollar, the euro, shekel, whatever they're running out there in Norway, for example, right? And it goes down or gets hacked. Like, they're not going to succumb to that. So if anyone's telling you that one crypto is going to run everything, they're blowing smoke so far up your ass that they can re-inhale it in, right? It's just not going to happen. But Coti is targeting really well the eastern part of the world. And they've been pretty direct, and actually they've been very direct about it. So the big guns first. It's looking very likely that they're going to be involved in the digital euro, to the point where I'm going to be surprised if they're not, right? And this is the main reason, to be completely honest, I got into Coti in the first place. And the more I learn, the more I like it, because I see more and more options and circumstances where they could jump into other projects. But digital euro by far is the most likely one in terms of progress that they're on. and it's probably gonna be the first one in general that's going to be released. I think Coti's going to be there. Of course, I also think Quant's going to be a main part in there. If you haven't watched me before, I'm a huge fan of Quant, and I really think that Quant and Coti is going to be two major names of the digital euro. Obviously, they're already kind of tied in with the digital shekel, which is good. Is it as large as the euro? No, it's not. But again, almost nothing will be. Right. So again, every time payments get transferred, let's say it goes on Quant's overledger system and they're turning the shekel over into the digital euro and then sending it out. Well, Coti was just used about 4 times there for privacy sectors, right? And every time it gets used, use cases add up. And we're going to be talking about millions of dollars kind of daily that's going to be going through these systems that need watched and monitored. The UAE has been looking a lot into Ethereum-based stablecoins and CBDCs. They're working little pilots. They're definitely a little behind in terms of like the digital euro, but they're ahead of most other countries because they are slowly working and they're building platforms to make it happen. And Coti is zoned in and focused on the UAE and Africa and Europe. So they're tied into it. And if they're jumping into making anything UAE based on Ethereum, and if Coti's the only one that's in the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance that does this, they're likely to be one of the first calls. All right. So again, not guaranteed, partial speculation with some facts behind it to back it up of why I'm kind of confident on this one too. It's more of a factor of when. And then we have Southeast Asia and Africa, who they've already been relatively open to their outsourcing, right, for their CBDCs. And Coti's just knocking on the door, right? There's already been a few conversations and meetings about helping to pilot some of those as well. They're still building all the infrastructure. So this one's probably a couple years down the road as well, but they're already in line. And it's not like a crypto is going to be pulled or picked out of nowhere to be used for this kind of stuff, right? Like it's going to be using their buddies. And if you guys have been talking for 4 to 5 years during the entire development, the likelihood like, oh, thank you for your assistance. We're choosing this guy we've never heard of before. It's incredibly small, right? It's why we get so excited about the speculation and hype of partnerships way before it means jack shit, because right now we're in the bull run, right? And all we're going on for most part is building up hype and speculation, right? Yeah, utility matters, but in all reality, how many crypto do you actually think has active utility at this moment, percentage wise? Very few and small. And if you take out the layer ones indexes, it's almost nobody. Right. So like utility isn't what's going to drive prices to go skyrocket in this bull run for this year. It's going to be the speculation and excitement of what they're going to do down the road. That might seem counterintuitive, but welcome to the crypto market, everybody. The stuff I'm talking about today is going to really not be in transaction until at the earliest the end of this year for the digital euro. Everything else we're talking years down the road. So I like how even though they're in so early development, Coti's there smiling and helping him out for the beginning of building all the infrastructure. Freaking awesome. And something that people have not really emphasized too much is the white labeled stable coins, like small fintech platforms or other banks. They're just going to be making their stable coins, kind of like JP Morgan did and how they launched theirs on Base. Right? Coti can get involved in those. Yes, they're smaller deals, but get Santander, get Chase, and that's fucking massive. So, and they're already in the same Ethereum Alliance. Just saying, guys, like things are stacking up, and it's nice that this early that so many people are ignoring it, because that means we can start stacking our bags way before everyone else starts realizing it, and it's going to come soon. So there it is, guys. That's my little spiel for today. Things that I think are setting up well for Coti to be a big part of several different CBDCs or CBDC life transactions. So tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think? How confident are you that Coti is going to be running the digital euro or anything else? And is there anything that you want me to look further into or that you want to debate me with? Debate each other. It's more fun watching you guys go back and forth. But regardless, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are, and I'll see you guys all soon. Peace.